Now, how about them damn Celtics?
All right, we're back with another Boston Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Friday, October 3rd after practice, and talking about Neemias Queta. Neemias Queta was at practice shooting some threes. We have the video here. Thanks to Celtics on CLNS. Shout out. Make sure to give him a follow for
Shout out
coverage
to
throughout
him.
the season. Neemi was practicing his three-point shot with Xavier Tillman. Chris Boucher was practicing his as well, just on a different court. Bobby Manning also asked about, whether or not Neemi could shoot threes this season as the starting center. For what it's worth, Neemi does practice threes almost every time he warms up. This isn't anything new, but just the discussion of what his role could look like offensively, and I guess defensively too. But you see the 3-point practice here, so.
Here's like my initial knee jerk to Neemi shooting threes. Like we saw it at Eurobasket, undeniable. Portugal, the first basket of the entire tournament was a Neemi three. They got him an open look at the top of the key. When I think about Neemias Queta and how they can use him and how they can utilize him best, and what Joe Mazzulla would think about everything here, you have to look at how they used Luke Cornett when he was with the Celtics and how he came to the Celtics as somebody who's supposed to be able to shoot threes. He was a good 3-point shooter at Vanderbilt. He was a decent 3-point shooter for the first couple seasons of his NBA career. Yet, once Mazzulla took over, he was limited to paint touches, catch and finish opportunities, and that was about it. And it worked out really, really well for him, right? Like he just got paid 4 years, $40 million from the Spurs because he was so good at the little things he was asked to do. I think if you're the Celtics and you're trying to maximize Neemi this year, you don't really ask him to do this. You say, all right, Neemi, here's what you're going to do. You're going to get really, really good at the things that can help the team in tight spots. Catch and finish opportunities feel like 1-1, especially because he wasn't great at that, or he hasn't really been great at that in Boston. Like he doesn't have the best touch at the rim at times. So I think making sure he's comfortable in those situations is going to be the biggest focus for them. And they want to build his confidence as much as they can. Like, it also might sound funny, but like if you have him shooting threes and he's not shooting them well, it probably doesn't do much for his or do good things at all for his confidence as a starter, as somebody who's going to be playing more minutes, someone you need to depend on this year. So I think that may factor in a little bit too.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, like I said, Bobby Manning asked Joe at practice about Neemi potentially taking threes and, how the center rotation will look in terms of what he's going to ask them to do. And Joe said, I mean, each player is different. They're different players than what Porzingis and Al have been. And you just have to be able to play, play to their strengths and create 2-on-1s for them. They got to know the coverage. They got to know the situations. They got to be able to do that. They have to be able to be impactful on both ends of the ball. And I think to your point, what you were talking about, like, Neemias Queta is already going to be playing more minutes, have more responsibility, and have more pressure on him than he ever has probably in his basketball career. So asking him to go do that while also do this one thing you've never done in your entire career before. That's a lot. That's a lot to put on a guy who is already going to have to guard Jokic and Embiid if he's healthy, and Giannis, and all of these incredible, superstar centers and big men around the league, who is going to have to find his place within the flow of the offense, master the pick and roll with guys he hasn't really played a ton with throughout these couple years in Boston, who is going to have to improve in the areas where he struggled a lot for the last 2 years with the Celtics, positioning wise, setting good screens, finding himself open, working the dunker spots. Like there's so many things that Neemias Queta needs to prove or improve at, I should say, within the scope of the player he already is before trying to add something else to the game. Like, look at Luke Cornett. Like, Luke Cornett shot threes his whole career. Vanderbilt. I think he has the most threes ever for a 7-footer in college. Like, he has been a 3-point shooter. And in order to
record-setting
maximize him,
3-point shooter.
yeah, he was an incredible 3-point shooter. Yet in order to maximize his skill set, they said, no, you're done. No more of those. And so doing the opposite with a player who probably isn't as fundamentally sound at this point in his career as Luke Cornett is, it just doesn't make a ton of sense, especially for where the Celtics are.
Yeah, they need Neemi to be comfortable. They need him to be able to feel like he can succeed within their offense. And I mean, Jack said at the top of the video today, like Neemi practices threes every game. If we get there 3 hours before tip off or behind the Celtics bench, Neemi is out there working on his game, getting threes up. Like he takes jump shots every single time. Clearly, he's comfortable enough to do so in the Eurobasket games, but I just don't really think that's in Boston's best interest. You have to remember with Eurobasket too, thinking about the Portugal team, thinking about where the offense runs through, Neemi's your best guy. You need to just see how much pressure he can put on opposing defenses from wherever he can do so. If you're the Celtics, even if Nemi is a confident 3-point shooter, you have Jalen, you have Derek, you have Anthony, you have Peyton, you have Sam Hauser, you have so many other guys that should be getting jump shot looks before Neemias Queta, where it's just like, is it worth the time, or is the focus with Queta better spent at being a better screener, as Jack said, spacing properly from the dunker spot, being ready to catch and finish at the rim and work on your touch on little float shots, not necessarily the dunks, but like just making the most of your paint opportunities is probably going to be the big offensive measuring stick for him this year. At least that's what it just feels like.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we don't really know what Neemias Queta is going to look like in the starting lineup yet. We won't know until, I guess, the preseason, really. Like, I think that's sort of the intrigue with this new
Close.
season is even beyond, we are close, even beyond Neemias Queta, we don't really know what anything is going to look like with the Celtics this season. Are they going to take the same amount of threes? Like, clearly not, because they don't have the stretch bigs or the personnel for it. Are they going to run the same, switch everything style of defense? Maybe not, because is Neemias Queta going to be switching on to guards like that? Is Peyton Pritchard going to be switching on to these bigs? Like, there's a lot that's going to change about the Celtics team. And I think controlling what you can control is almost going to be more important than people realize. And so adding something like Neemias Queta, taking threes, or, anybody else like Anthony Simons, doing even more, like there's just a lot that you don't really need to worry about. And I think the Celtics are putting, let's get everything we can control in its place before we try to like go crazy with anything else. And I just, for as much as Neemias Queta is practicing threes, he has shot threes for the last few years during warmups and everything, and like he will continue to do so. Like that's just kind of what the Celtics do. Everyone practices a little bit of everything. I don't see it being a sustainable thing once the ball hits the floor for real games.
And you talking about Simons kind of made me think about this too. Like, we've spent a lot of time this preseason talking about how's he going to defend, because that's been a major narrative surrounding his time with the Celtics. Like, they're not going to want to keep him because he doesn't really play defense. Like, Anthony Simons improving as a defender is not the same as Neemias Queta improving as a jump shooter. It's not necessary. It's not essential. Like,
Not the
you
same.
have to be able to defend in the NBA. Otherwise, your offensive value is just significantly diminished. But as a big man, it's great to be able to shoot threes. But we've seen guys across the league. Luke Cornet is just the easiest example because he played here. We know him. The listeners know him. Can succeed without having to shoot threes, and they can be very effective without having to shoot threes, and they can be a pain in the ass and impact winning without shooting threes. So fine-tuning the big man skills that Queta already has and things we've seen him thrive with at times in the past is going to be the biggest key for him to be a successful starter. And, to your point, we're going to do a lot of learning. We're learning too. We're learning how everybody fits. We're learning how the roles are going to be. We're going to learn how certain guys play with this guy and that guy and so on. I thought Luka Garza spoke about it really like intelligently the other day at practice, the first training camp day, where he was just like, listen, all I've been doing is trying to figure out how I can set up Jalen, Derek, Anthony, Peyton to score. How can I set good screens? Like, that mindset really sounds like it's going to impact the Celtics in a positive way. And this is not to tear down Nemi or say he's not saying that, because he just really hasn't been asked. He hasn't had the opportunity, and he's very prepared for this opportunity in front of him. It's been evident all summer. He's spoken to Bobby Manning about it. He talked about it at media day. Like, Nemi is taking this seriously too, but I think it's been more so in that way, where he's just making sure he can help the team in the best way possible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe you see him get a couple spot ones up during the preseason, but once the regular season hits, I just don't think it's going to be a sustainable thing. Let us know what you guys think. Appreciate your opportunity as always. I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. We are here every single day with new stuff. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. They're dropping a little later in the morning right now because we want to make sure people are watching them when they come out so we don't get buried in the algorithm. So be on the lookout for those 7, 8 a.m. They're coming. Maybe for your morning drive to work, we'll be there for you. We got you. We're also on Spotify and Apple. All pods and game recaps are there. So if you just want those things, follow. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Read them every single time we do a podcast, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jackson1NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.